Hey guys, welcome back to another session of IPT2. And I wanted to jump on and talk about something this week that a lot of people, when we asked their biggest kind of fears around the fitness industry, they came back with imposter syndrome as an answer. It was overwhelmingly imposter syndrome was the thing that people feared the most. And obviously we put out that question as a little bit of a gimmick around Halloween. But we also wanted to know what really were the big fears that people had, and there was other ones, and we can discuss them in other podcasts. But this evening, I really want to speak about imposter syndrome, and really, it's because it's something that is prevalent within the fitness industry, prevalent within the students who are training to be personal trainers, prevalent within people who are in the industry for years, and just prevalent in general. So we want to make sure that this topic is covered properly. So to start off, I'm going to talk a little bit about my own experiences with imposter syndrome. And I'm going to start right the way back when I was a student. And I remember studying, and I remember going in, and I remember getting smoke blown up my bum. I remember people were like, "Oh, Neil, you're really good at doing exercise. Oh, Neil, you're really good at writing programs." And sure, I had years of experience doing this before I did the course. I was in an accident. I had to do rehab. I went to the gym at a very young age. And I actually didn't find my way to the PT world until the age of about 24, 25, which is quite late considering most people jump into the fitness industry very early doors these days, 18 to 20. So there's me at 20, 24, 25. I started training friends and family just to see if I could do it. And I didn't charge them any money. I just wanted to see if I could give them the advice, if I could help them with exercise. And they used to come and train with me. It wasn't a case of I was dictating sessions like a normal personal trainer would do. They trained with me, but they had their own plans some of the time. And a lot of the time, they would just come and do their training at the same time as me so I could keep an eye on them. That gave me a lot of experience, but it also gave me a lot of things that I could pick up on and do better, and made me feel a little less of an imposter when I went to book my course. So I always wanted to work in some sort of sport and fitness kind of department. I played football or soccer as a young boy. I played rugby. I ran cross country, and all at high levels. I was able to do lots of really cool stuff, and then when you find out what goes on behind the scenes, when you start to realise about programming, about nutritional advice, about how things actually work in the body, anatomy and physiology, how the body's made up, it is very overwhelming for a lot of people. So when you start to study this and you see people who are maybe in better shape than you, or are stronger than you are more knowledgeable than you, then that kind of imposter syndrome that you put on yourself, that starts to creep in. I remember day one of my course. On day one of my course, I was sitting in a coffee shop. I got to meet my instructor, and he looked the part. He was a big guy, looked muscly, sounded confident about himself. And then I looked around the room at the other people that were there, and everybody's eyeing each other up. It's a natural thing to do. And there was 6 people on my course. I don't really keep in contact with many of them, although I know they're all off doing their own things these days. Some of them not in the fitness industry, some of them are. But out of the course of people who were there on day 1, 3 of us were the ones to finish the course. 3 dropped out of the course, or we just never saw them again. And maybe that was because of the imposter syndrome. That was because you had that feeling of inadequacy. And let's be honest, there was people on that course who were fitter than me, who I thought were doing better than me, who I thought were maybe more knowledgeable than me. But there was my instructor, the person taking the course, who was blowing smoke up my bum and telling me, you're really good. So when you sit your course and you've passed everything and it's all great, and I mean, back then, and we're talking over a decade ago, I scraped by my nutritional exam. I scraped by my anatomy and physiology because I didn't see the importance in it. Everybody thinks the important part of learning to train people is what you do on the gym floor and making sure the exercises are correct. But there's so much more to it that you actually need to be good at your job. So there was me just getting by, and then I decided to go work in a gym, and in the gym there was only 4 other trainers. So you're thinking, that's a good start. Only 4 trainers. But it was a very small gym. One of the trainers had been there for 5 to 10 years. He'd been there a long, long time. Everybody knew who he was. Everybody knew what he was capable of. And he had a sports background, so everybody knew to go to him for sports. Then there was another gentleman who was there for maybe a year or so, doing very well with his business, wanted to do better, but again, doing well, so couldn't really complain. And then there was another gentleman, so again, three guys, and he was a sports therapist as well as a personal trainer. So again, these are people who straight away are much more knowledgeable than me, or so I thought. And working with them was incredibly eye-opening, because all the stuff that I thought was important didn't really matter. And then there was the last person who started at the same time as me, which was the only female. So very, very, very quickly, she had people coming to her for sessions because she was the only female. And females, if there's only one female and females are looking for a female trainer, or males are looking for a female trainer, they're going to go straight to that person and just boycott everybody else. But let's think about that kind of imposter syndrome in this situation. So there's me, day 1, and I'm just thrown into the gym environment. It's so bad. The anxiety of having to go speak to people when I've never been taught that in my course. The doubt you have in your head about, do you even know what you're doing? How do you even do a consultation properly again? I'm not going to lie, the level that we get taught back then was not the best. We didn't get taught nearly enough about how to do consultations, or how to rely on your own abilities and strengths. There was a lot of stuff that kind of gets skipped by, so that you were just taught enough to pass the course. Which is why nowadays when I teach my own course, there is so much more to it. So much more to actually helping somebody develop and become better at what they're going to be doing, which is working in a gym with other people. So we cover things like the consultation and in a really in-depth manner. We cover how to go and approach people, and again, that imposter syndrome from day one creeps in. Why the hell am I here? What have I done to deserve this? I don't quite feel adequate being in this place. But you know what? In day one, I got my first client. I got 2 clients actually. And within weeks, I'd embedded myself, done really well, ended up with a lot of clients and went on to rent. Very quickly, within 3 months, I was on rent and doing really well, and that was great. So then I got all my own time back, made even more money, but I still felt I wasn't quite giving enough. My clients were getting results, they loved working out with me, there was a lot of people who were coming to the gym just to train with me, and my classes were really busy, the ones that I did take. And again, I loved working in the place. But it was, and we're talking over a decade ago, £620 for rent. So it was a lot of money. And at the time, I actually got the opportunity to speak to somebody in Dubai about going to work out there and moving into kind of managerial level work. So I made the decision to move on from that gym and not step out to Dubai just at that moment, but step out to another gym. And at the time, it was a Virgin Active. So I was going from an LA Fitness, which is a middle market gym, to a upper class gym, which is a Virgin Active. At least back then, those were the kind of considerations we had. And I walked in, and pretty much every single PT was a superstar in their own area. There was a PT who was a massage therapist, and she was absolutely flying. There was a PT who was a HIIT specialist, and she was flying. There was a couple of bodybuilding PTs, so they were absolutely flying. And there was other PTs there as well, and other fitness instructors who all had their own unique abilities. And to me, this was just a team I wanted to be a part of, because I knew it would push me forward. But I had that imposter syndrome again, and I didn't feel adequate. I had to BS my way through some of the interview, because there wasn't just a verbal interview where you sat and talked. There was a physical interview, and there was also an interview around your business. So there was 3 parts to the interview, and if you didn't pass them, you didn't get hired. And I fortunately did get hired, and I did well again. I didn't get quite the same numbers as I got in my first gym, and I lasted about 6 months and then moved on. And then I went on this other crazy journey of going to Dubai, coming back to the UK after a few years. And all that time, always learning, always trying to pick up the next certificate I could. And to this day, I can't even tell you the amount of certifications I have. It's getting close to the 100 mark now, I do believe. We're well past 50, 60, maybe even 70. And all the additional courses that I've done over the years to upskill myself. And people, even when they hear that, they're like, what the hell? How do you have imposter syndrome? And I guess it's because there's always somebody who's bigger and badder. There's always somebody who's better. And that can leave you feeling like an imposter. But then there is times when it completely flips and you feel so good about what you're doing, and you see all the things that are happening with clients, and how well they're doing, and you think, well, I can really do this. I always remember when I was in Dubai, there was a woman who came in, and she was Egyptian, and she'd blown out her knee. And obviously, with my background and my own knee, I was like, brilliant, I can help you. But she was really cautious about working with me, and we sat down and had a really open conversation, and she told me she'd had a PT before, and it was actually the PT who blew her knee out. And that's why she didn't want a PT. She was very, very reserved about getting one. And I just said, if it's not for you, if you don't think these exercises are going to help, then, you know, we will part ways. But I think it would be good to try, at least. And she agreed. And after I showed her the plan I had for her, she was like really impressed at the level of detail. But then I didn't think I went into much detail. So there's that negative self-talk coming in. When we started talking about her nutrition, because she sold cakes and she loved to bake, and that meant she was dealing with all these ingredients and she was tasting things a lot. And that's one of those things where you can get a lot of calories into your body if you're not careful. So we spoke about things like that, how to get her to the place where she wanted to be. And she was a very tall woman. She was taller than me, 6'2", if I remember correctly. And she was very, very confident after she started working with me. The pains that she had in her knee went away. She started to feel better about herself. She lost a little bit of weight, which was one of the goals, along with getting that knee working again. And then she started to get her husband to come and train with me. And then she got our kid to come and train with me. And there was me training an entire family, giving them the advice they need to work together as a unit, to help each other with nutrition and physicality, to make sure that they were all living a healthy and loving life. But I'm a complete imposter in that situation. I don't have a wife. I don't have a kid. I'm giving them advice that I feel is going to be practical and good for them. And I'm not just telling them what to do. A lot of it is coaching, because you don't want to just tell people what to do. But I was comparing myself to these other PTs in the gym who are doing great with their clients, and they're all getting results, and I'm working with a family. And is that right for me? Is that what my reputation is now? Or what the hell? You know, just that negative self-talk. And again, dwelling on the past of, well, I doubt I can do this. That imposter syndrome, that's always there. You know, but when you see things going so well, you have to remember that you actually do know quite a lot. And that's maybe like 2-3 years into my journey. And I won't keep continuing on about my own journey. What I want you guys to realise, if you're listening to this, is when you're starting in the fitness field, you're going to have those times when you think everybody else is a superstar. When you think that you're not doing the right thing. And even the fact that you're questioning yourself means that you're a better professional than you think you are. And if you're not questioning yourself, then maybe I'd be taking a look at what you're doing. We tend to find the people who are overconfident, who always think they are correct, are usually the ones who do things wrong. And yes, I might have this facade when you meet me or speak to me that I am one of the all-knowing, all-seeing, all-singing, all-dancing personal training gurus because I've won some awards and I've got certificates, but I'm not. I still have those times when I doubt myself and feel inadequate for the position that I'm in, I'm still going to be comparing myself to other people. I'm still going to be having that self-doubt and that stupid distrust of my own intuition. You know, I'm still going to have all those things. It's not something that goes away. And no matter how much you train yourself to not have those thought processes, it's very hard to get rid of the self-talk. Because we always talk to ourselves in our heads, apart from the people who don't have that thing in their head, that voice. And there are people out there, but that's a whole different subject. I am always going to be as honest as I can be with people, and yeah, I will have that self-doubt, that self-talk. And what you need to realise is when you're doing that, it's not productive. You know, yes, it's good to doubt what you're doing because it makes you analyse things in a different manner, but to doubt your ability to do things, that's not on. So my kind of parting words with the imposter syndrome and how it affects young fitness professionals, and I mean young in the way that they're new to the industry or are students. Remember that when you were a personal trainer for the first time, or when you started your studying for the first time, that you may not have known as much as you know now. You definitely didn't. And when you go back to thinking before those times when you were in the gym, you definitely didn't know what you know now. You wouldn't have went through your entire personal training course and not learned anything. And then try to think about the people who are in the gym. There are going to be people out there who have decent knowledge about working out and decent knowledge about how to program for themselves. But they don't know the ins and outs of anatomy and physiology. They don't know about insertion points. They don't know about body mechanics. They don't know about the limitations of growing muscle genetically. They don't know about God knows how many things that you do now know about. So when you start to talk about yourself in a negative manner, remember the things that you have actually learned. Remember that your knowledge on periodization is way beyond what the average person is. Remember that other people who come to the gym, they're not personal trainers. They haven't studied. They don't know. They might BS their way. They might have read a couple of studies online that took their interest, but they don't have the knowledge that you have. So don't feel inadequate, because you're not anything but new to the industry or a new student. So you're going to continue learning. And if we then flip back to myself for a second, when I say I've done lots of courses over the years and I continue to do courses, it's because we never stop learning. It's one of the few jobs in the world where you can continue to learn for a lifetime, because there's so much to learn about the human body, training, nutrition, and all sorts of other facets about training people. You can specialise in subjects. You can go down different routes. And that's where you need to remember that feeling of being inadequate is because you might see people who are further along in development than you, and you might want to be where they are, but instantly. And it doesn't work like that. You have to spend your time learning. You have to spend your time training people and getting experience and getting life experience. Being a PT, you don't just have knowledge on fitness and nutrition and that's it. People are going to ask you about life situations. They're going to ask you about your own life, and that's because they see you as the example they want to live up to. They want to be more like you. And if you have anxieties around this imposter syndrome, if that's the thing that's driving you, remember, anxiety is fear. You have to overcome those fears, and overcoming them is by realizing that you are in the right place. Your passion, your experiences have led you to where you are now. And really, you can drive yourself forward from this position very easily. Now, that's maybe a lot to take in, but I feel that if you don't cover these things now, if it's seeping in and you need to really feel better about what you do, there's no point in leaving it to the wayside, because it's going to eat away at you. The distrust you have in your own capabilities, that's going to eat away at you, because that shows up when you're taking consultations. That shows up when you're doing demonstrations. That shows up when you're taking a class or a PT session. Not having that trust in your intuition means that your programming goes downhill and your clients don't succeed. Dwelling on past mistakes, and even if you do make a mistake and somebody doesn't get success, be it the weight loss they wanted in a certain amount of time, what other successes were there? Don't dwell on the one thing that didn't go right. Dwell on the things that went correct. Dwell on the things that pushed the client forward. Don't give yourself more negative self-talk. I think imposter syndrome is a big thing these days because, like I said, there's more and more younger people stepping foot into the fitness arena, but there's also older people stepping into the fitness arena, and everybody in between. You know, it's not just exclusive, but over the years that I've done tutoring, I've seen a lot more younger people, like even as young as 16, come into the fitness industry, and people as old as 60 plus. And there is a lot of psychological things going on when you're at different ages. And imposter syndrome isn't just something that happens to the young, it happens to the older people as well. The self-doubt around, can I even do it at the age I'm at? And I always say to that no matter what age group that you train, now you might not train your own age group, but whatever age group you actually train, that age group's going to grow up with you. They're always going to need you, right up until the very day they're not there anymore. And if you're a 60-year-old personal trainer training 60-year-olds, that's amazing, because you're helping people at the age that you are. And a personal trainer at 60 plus is probably going to be in good shape. They're probably doing the right things to help themselves. They're probably doing the healthy things that those people need and need more of, because they don't understand. You have to remember that we've lost a lot. We've lost the ability to cook. We've lost the ability to follow recipes unless somebody on TikTok shows you how. These were skills that were passed down by parents to their children. That includes health and fitness. Health and fitness is something that was passed down to the children of the parents. So was your nutrition. And with that now being a major gap, we have to think about all the other things that we can help people with, because there is that knowledge that's missing. People don't know aspects about nutrition. People don't know aspects about training. And to think you're an imposter in the position you're in, you are so mistaken. There's people out there who don't realise what goes into their ready meals. They don't want to know. They are oblivious to a lot of things. There's people out there who are training too much because they don't understand rest and its importance. There is so many people doing so many things that they could do better. Now, we're not out there to chase everybody and say they're wrong. We're not out there to tell people what they should and shouldn't do. We are there to coach, to help people, to help them manage their lives better. We're out there to help. And if people don't want to listen to you, that's fine. But you're not the imposter. You're not the imposter you think you are. So go into situations with confidence. Remember, if you don't know the answer to a question, just say, I don't know the answer, but I'll go look that up. I've definitely got that information. Remember that if you're feeling inadequate about what you do in the gym, that you're not matching yourself to anybody else. You are working on your own way of developing people. And that's okay. You shouldn't feel inadequate because of that. You'll have your own ethics and ethos about how people train. And that's good because that makes you different from other people. And that means you shouldn't ever be comparing yourself to other trainers. You shouldn't. You definitely shouldn't be comparing yourself to people online, especially the personal trainers online, because they're only showing you the good things about their life. They're showing you the 2% of what is good in their life via pictures. You're not seeing their day 100%. You're seeing that one moment that's really good for them that they want to show you. And you're probably doing the same on social media. So definitely don't be comparing yourself to other PTs. Don't listen if they are telling you things that they are really, really busy and blah, 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 because that's not for you to know. Work on your own business. If you feel like you're getting anxiety around what you do when it comes to things in the gym, what anxieties, what fears do you have? Because if you deal with them, that's going to lessen the impact of that imposter syndrome. Listening to your own self-doubts, clear that away as soon as possible, because you should not be self-doubting. You have been through your training or are going through it. You are learning, and you will keep on learning as a PT, because the ones who don't keep learning, the ones who don't continually to try to improve themselves, those are the ones who are going to suffer in their business later or sooner. Just always depends on what's going on in the situation. But if you think about it, if somebody's really busy really quickly as a personal trainer, are they going to be able to manage that? Do they have the resources to improve business and move forward if they are jam-packed and training people every second of the day? I've seen that kind of success, and it does get detrimental, and it's not sustainable. And, don't, again, compare yourself to those people. Let them be them. You work on you. Another thing, just remember, you will be coming up with your own concepts through your own experience, through the things that you learn and the things you know, through the science that is actual fact. You're going to learn your ways of utilising all these things. So why deny your own intuition? If you think something's correct for somebody, and you can justify it, and you've got the rationale behind it, and you can tell them the why behind what they are doing, that is someone who is really capable. That is somebody who understands things at a deeper level, and you should never distrust that capability. Never distrust that intuition you have for that training you do for people. which then brings us to that negative self-talk. Eliminate it. PTs can sometimes be some of the worst people for talking back to themselves and saying the wrong things in their head, doubting, being really crappy to themselves. And you would never speak like that to another person. So never do it to yourself. Don't ever treat yourself that way. That's going to make imposter syndrome come back in force. That's going to emphasize it in your mind. It's going to mean that you are on a downward spiral. You don't need that. Remember, you are capable. And as I said before, don't dwell on anything in the past. Try and make everything you do about moving forward just that little bit each day, and you will see that the imposter syndrome starts to eep away. Now, I'm no therapist. I don't know the kind of things that you're going through. But I would like to say that if you are feeling some imposter syndrome, then speak to somebody. It could be myself. It could be another member of the PT team. It could be your manager. Don't let it get out of hand. You're better than that. You are. If you've made it to the point where you've passed your course and that imposter syndrome is seeping in, speak to somebody. If you're on your course, speak to your tutor. We like to help our students. We want to see you succeed. I, for one, want to see all my students surpassing me. And it's great when I see students going out there and having an amazing PT business. And I see it all the time. And I'm thankful that I got to be part of their journey. But not everybody goes on to have those kind of superstar PT moments. And that could be because of the imposter syndrome. But you're there. If you signed up to the course, you're there. If you've passed the course, you're there. And if you've passed the course, you definitely merit being there. And if you're just on the course, you'll learn that you will find your place. Because the only place you can go is forward when you're on your course. Now, like I said, I'm not a therapist. I just have rambled on for the past nearly 40 minutes now. Hopefully you've not heard all the fireworks in the background, but there is a lot of them going on. And I just wanted to get this out there today because you guys out there who maybe catch this or maybe don't, I want to make sure that you're looked after, because I remember being that imposter. I remember going through different stages of feeling like an imposter and the different roles that I've done within fitness. And I wouldn't wish it on anybody. And there was nobody I talked to. And I wish I did. Because if I did, they would have reassured me of the things that I've just told you. They would have told me all about how going and learning and making sure that I am even doubting what I do each time gives me a different kind of level, a different kind of capability than other people. And not just allowing the imposter syndrome to be what it is, but actually using it as a tool to help you move forward. So I really hope this is helpful. I really hope people get something out of this. And if you do want to discuss it with us, please reach out. It is something that I am passionate about, and the mental health of not just the clients, the students and the PTs out there. I'm passionate about just helping people in general. And if you need that help and support, reach out, say hi, have a conversation, and let's make sure that we utilise imposter syndrome in a positive manner and move forward being the best professional that you can be. Till next time, it is Neil out. Speak soon.